All right. Hello, I'm Jaemie.
I'm Vanessa.
And we are low-key obsessed. And so this is our initial episode. And so we just want to go into, I don't know if I have to do an intro, go into how we met and how we came up with the idea for the podcast and what you can expect for this season. So Vanessa and I met on Instagram, which is like kind of funny, I think. But I think like our first few interactions were like very surface level. Like I think we became pretty close friends later down the road.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to help you shoot content.
I appreciate that. I love someone helping me shoot content.
Yeah. And that's
now
how
you're my
started.
personal photographer for life.
For life.
Yeah. So I think like one of the things that like brought us closer was definitely like us going through like similar life transitions. Cause like for me at least, like I feel like all my friends were like couple friends. And so I didn't have any like single girlfriends. So it was nice like when we both went through like our breakups with like our long-term partners, I felt like we're like trying to figure out like the same things and like in the same part of like our journey.
Yeah.
Like, I always felt bad for girls who were going through things on their own. Like,
yeah,
it's so isolating. Whereas like I felt like we could really identify with like what we're both going through.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and it's nice to go through with that. Oh, I can't even speak English. Go through with that with someone instead of alone, which was what I was afraid of when I initially ended
your relationship.
The relationship.
Because it's like daunting because you could like, it's that like risk versus like reward type thing.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I've already invested like 7 years of my life into this. And it's like, do I want to keep investing and like hope that things improve? Or do I want to like cut my losses and start over again? Well, and starting over again is so scary.
Yeah. And I felt like we did pretty much start all over again.
Yeah, it's true.
I thought I was going to be alone forever. I was like, what am I going to do? I have no friends in this city. Everyone's married and has kids. And all the things.
No, it's like nerve-wracking. And I think even like the process that like you go through, like I feel like there's like a certain amount of like self-talk that you have in your head that you kind of like have to work through.
Yeah, which is like, something I never did before because I always was in a relationship.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Since I was like 20.
Which is crazy because we're both the same. Like I was like maybe single for like a month or two in my 20s.
Yeah,
and, like, that was like the most amount of time.
I've never experienced singlehood until these last few years.
Yeah, no, it has been interesting. And I think it's just like a total different world now. Like we've talked about it so many times, but like you used to just like go on a date and it was like someone that you liked and then you go on more dates and then eventually you're dating. And now it's like you're swiping, you're talking, you're maybe getting catfished. Like it's just not. Yeah, literally things are going well.
Yeah, because when I was younger, I would just meet people through friends and I wouldn't even have to go on a date with them. You just kind of like, I like you, you like me. Now we're...
And it like naturally progresses.
Yeah, now we're boyfriend, girlfriend, married forever.
Yeah, it's true. And now there's just situationships.
Which is, I think once you're in a situationship, you're like so close. I feel like
you feel like you can lock it down.
Well,
because it can go either way, right?
Yeah, because you're like
they meet
someone
right
there.
away and they're like really into them and then you're gone. Or they're like, guess like
it's like levels. And then eventually you get to win the game.
And winning the game is getting the partner.
Winning the game is getting the ring. So pretty much you meet someone and then you get to know them.
Yeah.
And then you get the call back, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then, or vice versa. And then you meet more and then you sleep together. And then that's the gray area.
And then it's like, you don't know if they really like you or if they're going to leave.
So it's
TikTok
after that.
tells us the minute that a guy sleeps with you, he decides that he hates you.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah. So if you hear from them again or if you don't.
You know he likes you.
Then you're in a situationship and then you got to maneuver that.
It's true. Yeah. So I think like that was kind of the reason we decided to develop our podcast. Because I think like we felt like we were going through those same kind of like lessons where we had to like figure out like dating over again and then like how to be self-sufficient on our own. And then like what are the things that we actually like when we're not like a we anymore. Because like the we thing is so weird. And now I really notice it. Like couples that are very much like a we and couples that are very much like an I.
Oh, what do you mean?
Like we like to go to brunch on the weekends. We like to play tennis.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like to do this or whatever.
Right.
Like which I understand, but it's like, sometimes you get caught up in just like always weeing, you know?
Yeah. I was always weeing.
I'm a weeer too. I think you and I even do it.
Yeah.
We like this.
Yeah, it's true. We were a strong we.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, I think it's nice because like I know like I have a girlfriend who's in Calgary and she went through a breakup as well. And it was like so hard because like she didn't have any of her own friends.
Yeah.
And then you don't have like your own foundation. And then you're just trying to like figure out your bearings on your own.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's really tough.
It's difficult. But yeah, just pick up all the stragglers.
Yeah, it's true. But everyone's in the same situation, feeling the same things.
Yeah, it is true. And like the one things that girls can always bond on is boys, which is like so sad. Just females.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But whereas like the opposite where guys just talk about like sports or whatever.
Yeah.
They're not talking about their feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess it's not really boys that you have in common. It's more like understanding someone's feelings more than anything.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with that. Yeah. So now that we've filmed, what's been like your favorite so far?
Can we say the names?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can like put them out there. Okay, so my favorite.
Yeah, we're spoiling it.
My favorite would have to be Sarah.
Okay. And what do you like about Sarah?
What did I like about Sarah? I liked how calming she was.
Okay.
I felt like you felt that way too, that you were in your own private session with her sometimes.
Yeah, which is so weird. But I guess because humans have so like all the same kind of rude emotions.
Yeah. And I feel like the way she talks to you, it's like she's like really listening and like talking directly to you and just wants to know more about you.
On. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. She totally had like a most calming presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And she made me cry.
Definitely.
Well, she didn't make me cry. But
you're just emotional.
I was emotional after. I don't know why.
No, I think that was like a good episode. I think we have like a good mix because like we have like a dating coach, we have like an Enneagram expert. Like it's a good mix of kind of like personal development and just like kind of like acquainting yourself with yourself and like kind of finding out what you like and what you don't like and then like bettering yourself down the road for sure. Yeah.
And they're all kind of linked together. Like I feel like the majority of our guests mention the same things or.
Yeah, there are like reoccurring themes.
Yeah.
Like I really need to work on my theme of needing freedom. Like I can't believe I never thought about it. But now that like it's glaring at me, I like obviously have to work through it, which is so annoying.
Yeah. But I can see that. Like it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just more self-work. It's so hard.
Yeah, and I have to work on saying my opinion, speaking, voicing my opinion. Yeah.
All just comes back to childhood trauma.
Yeah. This is really hard for me right now, even doing this.
Just talking to each other.
Yeah, well, it's different.
Why don't you pretend there's no cameras? Because I feel like you're way funnier when you're just like off the cuff, you know? But I think you're overthinking it. What's like the biggest lesson you learned from your breakup, would you say?
My biggest lesson that I've learned would probably be go with your instincts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one. Like trust your instincts.
Yeah.
Because they'll never stray you in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Like I probably should have gotten out or left maybe like 4 years into it. Maybe less, 3 years.
Yeah, I think 3 years would have been my max too. And like, I think that the one thing that like my advice would be to like anyone who's like actually at any age, because like you're only as young as you ever are, as young or whatever that saying is like you always feel like you're too old. Like at 25, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm too old to do like start over or whatever. And it's like, it doesn't matter.
No, it really doesn't matter.
And like the sooner you like take the chance, like the more likely you are to like feel better about it. Yeah. Like, because if you keep just like forcing it, then it's like you have to force it, you know?
And that's what it was. It was like forcing it for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't even know how we both did it. Kudos.
Well, not really, because like it's like you're not happy. And I think that's like important too, is like I think especially like when you have conversations with like guys and they're like, oh yeah, like you'll never do better, or like, you know, like I'm so good to you and blah, blah, blah. And like, you know, that it's like not what you deserve. I think like women in general just need to like stand up for themselves and be like, no, this is like not what I want.
Yeah. I really need to work on boundaries.
Yes. That's a good one for you.
Yes.
I'll work on my need for freedom. You work on your boundaries.
Yeah. It's really hard to set a boundary.
Yeah, that's something I struggled with too, but I feel like I've gotten like really good at it. I almost like overcorrected to be like too strong with boundaries, and now I had to like find a happy medium.
When did you do that?
My overcorrection of boundaries?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I just like would not want to do anything.
Oh.
I don't know. You know, you have to meet in the middle. Can't always do what you want.
It's true.
It is true. What are you hoping to gain from the podcast?
What was I hoping to gain from the podcast?
Yeah. Like, what are the things that you were like most excited about learning?
I think I was excited about the dating coach and the Enneagram coach.
Yeah. Because like you wanted dating tips and tricks.
Yeah. Because I was curious if it was going to be like the majority of stuff that I already know.
Yeah.
But I guess there was some little tidbits that I didn't.
Yeah. No, it's true.
But I guess mostly it's just like putting yourself out there.
And just like making space for dating.
Yeah.
Which is like hard because it is like, it's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
Especially like, I feel like you just get to a certain age and then like everyone's just kind of weird.
Everyone's a potato.
Yeah, it's true. So hard.
It is hard.
Any good dates lately?
I have not been on any good dates lately.
Just bad ones.
It's just bad ones.
So funny.
Yeah.
I was going through a streak where like my dates, like the actual where I was going on the dates was really good. But then like the actual dates were not.
No, I'm trying to think of when the last time I went on a date would have been.
Who wants to go first?
You can go first.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Vanessa. Okay. So my personal breakup story is that I was with someone for 7 years and we had a long distance relationship. So like in the beginning, we weren't seeing each other all the time. And then we lived together, but he worked out of shift work. So he'd be like 3 weeks on, 1 week off, whatever, which was fine. So the times that we had together were like only good times, but then there'd be like really suspicious things that would happen. Like he would offer to like pick me up from like a party and then he would put his phone on silent and I'd like call him like 20 times and he wouldn't come and pick me up. And then he'd be like, oh, sorry, I passed out. And I'd be like, well, don't offer to pick me up. You're not going to. And just like weird things. And then over time, I kind of like put all the signs together and he had like a substance abuse problem. Like he was an alcoholic and it was like something that I like had never navigated before. And then my own like vision of alcoholism was like someone who's like belligerent and can't go to work. And like, I just had like the most like stereotypical, like end of like worst case scenario kind of view on alcoholism. And because he was still like functioning, like it wasn't like he couldn't go to work, but he just like drink 20 beers after work. And then like, he would just like have these like really unhealthy patterns and just like blacking out and not remembering things or just like, I don't know, I'm not going to go into it because like embarrassing for him. But anyways, and so for me, it was like, I just like in my head, I was like, oh, I've invested so much time in this relationship. Like, I just like, we just need to get through this and then like, we'll be fine. And like, the reality was like, he got sober and he was not fine. And he was like, so like, I think being sober can be really challenging for people. And like, it's just like every little thing kind of like irks you. Mm-hmm. And so it's like so challenging because like, you want to be like understanding, but at the same time, you don't want to be like a punching bag when like everything's upset. And then like to go along with that, like one of the main reasons he drank was because he had like social anxiety. And so not having that as like a crutch or whatever was like hard. And so like he literally needed me to do like everything with him. And then if I couldn't deliver on that, then he'd be really mad at me. And so it was just like a lot, like a relationship that took like way too much out of me, I think. And I think at the time I was like, well, if you love someone, and my parents have been together forever, I was like, well, if you love someone, you care about them, then like you're going to be with them forever. Like it's not like a, like, I don't know, it's like till death do us part kind of thing. And I didn't really think of it as like, this isn't like what I signed up for, I guess. It was always just like, we're going to get through it. But yeah. And then when he like finally, and he would never go to like rehab or whatever. He always just wanted to do like weird, like weekend seminars where you walk on coal and like, I don't know.
Did he really?
I don't know. That's like a little bit like embellished, but he like went to like something in Langley. I don't know. It was like a weekend awakening, like workshop.
Are we sure he went?
I don't know. You think he lied?
I don't know.
He had to like bunk with someone. He was like very annoyed about that because he's like, we have to sleep in 2 single beds. And like, I don't know. It was super weird.
In 2 single beds?
Yeah. Like they have like 2 single beds in a room. So you don't get a private room.
Oh, but they're not in the same bed, like not one, like a single sized bed.
No, like 2 single beds is like 2 single beds. Like,
oh, I was just imagining.
Not one single bed.
I was imagining him curled up beside some random in one single bed.
And they're like, I feel your pain.
Hold me.
I don't know. Like he just didn't want to do like any real traditional like work on it. Cause like obviously like addiction, like from what I know about addiction, and I'm not like well versed at all. It's just like there is like a lot of shame that goes along with it. And like a lot of the times you're like drinking to like escape a feeling or escape like some sort of pain or trauma. But yeah, so basically we went through that little stretch of time of him being sober, and then he like came clean about not being sober, and then there was the infidelity, and then it was a lot. So I feel like at the end of the day it was just a lot of time like wasted, or not wasted, I won't say wasted, it was just like a lot of time invested into someone who like wasn't putting the same investment in me and was basically just like using me more than like it wasn't a mutually beneficial relationship for me, I would say. But I think like that was an important lesson for me because like now I'm really big on boundaries. I obviously care a lot about being free, and I like feel like I can't settle almost. Like I want to feel like 100% confident in the relationship because like there was a lot of pressure like why we weren't married yet and like when we're going to have kids, and like it just never felt like the right time. And I think like now that I'm by myself, like I could see it being the right time with someone else. And I think I just like didn't want to like acknowledge that. It's like a hard truth to kind of get over.
Oh, for sure.
Because like you're like, well, I like do like this person.
But in your gut, you're like, I know you're not.
Totally. Like even our values in general don't align. Like he didn't want kids. He didn't want to get married. His like parents were divorced. He wasn't like very family oriented. Mm-hmm. And like I was very isolated for like our last few years too. Cause like when he was sober, he didn't want to go to any family functions because everyone's drinking, and which is like fair. And it's just like, were those sacrifices that I could make forever? Probably not.
Right.
I don't know.
So would you come home and he would be drunk?
Yeah. And he would hide it, which is like also crazy. Like he would like text me and be like, how long till you're coming home? So he could like hide all his like cans or whatever. And we couldn't have any alcohol in the house because he would just like finish it. He would just like, if he was home by himself, he would just like drink everything that was there.
Wow.
But I don't want to make it like about him, but I just like feel like for me, it was like a good lesson. And then and like, I don't think that you can't be with someone who has problems. I think it just depends on like your lifestyle.
Yeah, of course. And how much like, yeah, no, pretty much. Exactly.
Yeah, it did. It's true.
Like it wasn't slow, like a slow breakup. It was just pretty much overnight.
No, I think it was slow because like I broke up with him Easter weekend. We were like at a wedding, and I think that was like my breaking point. I was like, I just like want to like move forward or like be done with it. And it was like the first time, because I'd like we've had this conversation before, and it was the first time that he was like, yeah, like I agree. And I was like, okay, like then let's call it quits. And then we were driving, the wedding was in Kelowna. we were driving back to Kelowna, and like I had said originally, I was like, oh, I'll just spend the week in Kelowna because I work remotely. So I was like, I'll spend the week in Kelowna. I'll just like fly back, and then we can just like have a week apart and like think about it. And then he was like, yeah, that's cool. And then I thought about it. I was like, no, I feel like this is more like a hash it out situation. And then we drove back to Kelowna, and now that this is so funny. Now that Sarah told us never to have a conversation in the car, we literally had a shouting match in the car where we're like, blah, 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 like at each other. And like, that was when he told me he's not actually sober. And I was just like, oh my God.
Who was driving?
He was driving, but he was sober at the time. He wasn't drunk driving, just to be clear. But yeah, he just like had this, like, we had this like crazy shouting match of like all these things that we like never talked about. And like, there was so many things, like he's so nitpicky with me. Like I know to this day all the things that like annoy him. And so I'm very cognizant of it. And like there was so many things that he's just like so annoyed at me for. And I was like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like they're just like such little things, like not taking the lids off the recycling or like washing sheets and towels together. Yeah. Like just like very granular things. But yeah, so we had our shouting match. We got back. And then we had like this weird roommate situation where we were like sleeping in separate rooms, but we'd like go for dinner. Like, but I wouldn't, because usually I would make dinner. But then like, I was like, I'm not going to make you dinner anymore because we're like not together. And we'd like literally go out for dinner like every night and like just like sit there and talk. And I was like, this is so weird. It's like, we're like.
Now you're on a date.
Yeah, literally. I was just like, okay. And we still had like a joint credit card too. So we just like put it on the credit card. It was just like, it was literally like we were like dating, but then we've decided to be friends. Like there was just like no more intimacy. It's like, okay. But yeah. And then I just like started going out on the weekends, like without him basically. And he wouldn't move out. He was just like so slow with it that finally I just like put my foot down and I was like, okay, we need to like figure out a plan. We're not going to like live like this. Cause he was like, it's fine with me. It makes no difference. And I was like, it's not fine with me. So he moved into like guest housing through work, but he was like really annoying about it because he wouldn't move any of his stuff out, which is another thing that I still am annoyed about in retrospect because he like wasn't paying rent, but he wouldn't move his stuff out. So it was just like storage area. But yeah, and then he moved out on his own, and that's when I found out about the cheating. So
crazy.
Yeah. Crazy story. I don't know, should I tell the story?
I mean, if you want. I just find it, the only reason I find it crazy is because when we met up that day, but
I had told you about it because I just found it out, right?
No, you didn't tell me about the cheating. You're just like, yeah, so my partner is going to, where is it, Brazil?
Brazil, yeah.
Brazil for a trip. And I'm like, are you going? And you're like, nope. I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, that's odd. And I was,
really?
And
that's so interesting.
I'm like, are you fine if he goes on his own? And you're like, yeah, it's not a big deal. And I was like, okay. And then that was it. And then we parted ways. Like
That's I went so funny. I remember that actually. Cause like the trip to Brazil, I really didn't want to go. And it just like a meditation retreat where you like don't talk all day sounded like awful. And I was like, there's no way I want to do this. And he was really mad at me for not going. And he was like, we could go later and we could go to Greece. And I was like, well, maybe Greece would be okay. But he was like, well, I want to go now because it was like important to his sobriety. I don't know why. And so like when he said he wanted to go to Brazil, and the crazy thing is he went to Brazil for 2 weeks. So he met this girl after 2 weeks and then decided he was like in love with her. Like that is wild.
That is wild.
But that's like also like classic addict behavior. Cause like, it's like you're like, you want to take risks. So like, it isn't that wild. Like now that I like think about it, I'm like, oh, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But it is just like, and the thing is like, he told me about her. The weirdest part is like, I have messages in our WhatsApp of like him being like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with this girl. And I was so secure that I was like, okay. And I like have pictures of her. Like nothing about me was like threatened.
He sent pictures of the two of them in
Not
WhatsApp?
like of the two of them.
Just like,
but he was like, oh, I made this new friend. We're going to go for a walk on the beach. And I was like, that sounds fun. And then I looked at her on her Instagram because she'd added her and she was like older. And like, for me, like, I just knew I was like, I was like textbook his type. I'm just like a dark haired girl that's short. So like she was tall and blonde and older and covered in tattoos and he hates tattoos. So I was like, this just wouldn't be someone that I was like threatened by. But yeah, now they're married.
Now they're married.
It's so random. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I think like the hardest part is just like having all those ties, because then you have like their mom, their dad, their brother's girlfriend, their coworkers, like everyone on your Instagram and your Facebook.
Yeah.
And then they have like a one-sided story of what happened.
Right.
And they're obviously going to be on his side. And then it's like, how do you like navigate that?
Well, you just unfollow.
I know I had to unfollow everyone, but it feels so like vindictive.
No.
And especially people like, I literally thought he was like part of my family. And then I consider like his family my family. So like even that part is sad.
Yeah, I mean, it is sad. Like when I went through my breakup, it was hard not to be close to like his sister or anything. But I still talk to them.
Yeah.
And I still have his family.
I think for us, it's just harder because like everyone knows it didn't end well. So it's like, it can't be like a comfortable thing.
Yeah. That's true.
Like
they kind of know the details.
Well, like his side of it.
Yeah, only his side, yeah.
Yeah. Which like who knows what his side was. But yeah, now it's your turn. What do you got?
What do you got? So I met I don't want to say the name.
You don't have to.
Okay. Well, I met my ex.
Yeah.
When I was 25.
Okay.
And then through work, and then it kind of blossomed through there. So we kind of started seeing each other, or were friends, and then started seeing each other for like 3 or 4 months, maybe 6 months actually. And he was from the UK, so he had to go back to Northern Ireland, and then we kind of did the long distance scenario.
Yeah.
And then he was like, do you want to come to New Zealand with me? I obviously said yes.
Yeah.
So then we met up again in New Zealand, and we spent over a year there, and everything was fine. But then I did kind of notice like the red flags coming.
Yeah.
Like just with like his temper a little bit coming out. But then I was like, oh, we're traveling together. We're pretty much working at the same place, living in the same place.
Yeah, it's like a lot of together time.
So I was like, it's fine. I get it. We are going to butt heads, obviously.
Yeah. So
the year passes, and then we do the New Zealand trip, and then we come back to Vancouver, and that's when things started to get a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Because that's when I noticed like his anger really coming out.
Yeah, totally.
And he would just say things to me or yell at me, and I was like, it's fine. Like, I'm just going to let this go and pass, and I'm going to ignore it, and I'm just going to apologize for something I don't even know what I'm
like avoid the fight.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because I hate confrontation, which is also what the Enneagram coach told me.
Yeah, worked on it. Yeah. This is the whole purpose of the podcast.
Yeah. And then I went to school, and then after school, we decided to move in together. And that's when everything just pretty much went downhill.
Yeah.
Like the small things he would get mad about. He would like call me every name under the sun. Super toxic. And then pretty much that whole relationship lasted for 7 years. And even I remember like walking to work in the mornings, and in my gut, I'm like, why am I in this relationship? What am I still doing?
I remember we talking about it too. And like, I remember I was like, oh yeah, like I think we'll probably get married in a few years or whatever. And I was like, are you going to get married? And you were just so nonchalant about it. You're like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, that's so strange to like not like want a future.
But I'd even ask him like, do you think we'll get married? And like, I wasn't even worried about his answer, or would have been offended if he said no, because I think I was in the same boat. Yeah. And then I had to go to a counselor. I didn't tell him I was going to a counselor, and I went to her for about 6 months and kind of told her everything was going on. And I didn't even realize the situation I was in until I talked about it with someone, and then she told me the scenario, and that, it wasn't good. And I thought it was normal. Everything that was happening, I thought it was completely normal.
Well, because sometimes it's hard. Like I told my friend, because she had been, and like I really valued her opinion, because like even now, like she's been with the same partner for like 15 years. And I was like, yeah, like my ex or whatever, he's really mean to me sometimes. And she was like, yeah, but like, if they're that like you're usually mean to the person that like you're most comfortable around. And it's like, he's really mean to you because he feels that comfortable around you. And like, she's like, it's almost like it's a good thing. Like she was like, yeah, because like the person closest to you, like you can like feel like you'll treat them that way, but they'll like love you no matter what. And I was like, I guess that makes sense. Like you need an outlet. But now I'm like, no, like that's so bad.
Don't ever give that advice to anyone.
I'm not going to. I'm saying that it's awful. Like, and I actually had thought about that because I was like, I'd always had boyfriends who were very like over the top, like very supportive of me. And like, he was so critical. Like it was kind of like they talk about it in counseling. It's like this cycle of trauma or something. And it's like, they're like really mean to you and then they're like nice to you. And then you just like go through the whole thing where it's like this back and forth of like them trying to be nice to you and then them being mean to you and like just always leaving you guessing.
Yeah.
But I didn't even realize it was something that I like was working through, which is crazy.
Yeah. I just sometimes can't even believe I stayed in a scenario that long. Like when I think back about who I was and like
I can't even believe it either. You're so different now.
Like just crumble.
It's just like waiting for that like other shoe to drop because you always feel like something's gonna happen.
Yeah. I don't even know. I could never be in a situation like that again, ever.
I don't think I could either. It would be too much. And I think like for me, like it was a good lesson for me to like understand my boundaries and also just like know like when like I have instincts about them to like trust them. But yeah, it'd be too much, I think.
Yeah. It's insane.
Like mine was like similar situation too. Like the beginning of the relationship, I really wanted us to go to counseling. And it wasn't until things were really bad where we like finally agreed to go to couples counseling.
That's good that he even went.
Well, it was like, I like kind of ultimatum him. I was like, I think I'm done unless we go to couples counseling. So I think that was like the catalyst, but couples counseling wasn't great. I think you have to find the right counselor.
Yeah. And you have to keep going and going and going.
Totally. Yeah. And I think at that point, I think I put so much effort into the relationship like early on. And so like, it was hard for me to like continue that when I felt like I wasn't getting enough out of the relationship to like warrant that much effort. And I think like the minute I stopped trying, it was just like everything kind of fell apart. Cause like, it's like, then no one's trying.
Yeah, so you're kind of like the one that kept it together.
Yeah, I
like
think
what
so.
would have happened at the beginning if you didn't even make that much effort.
Totally, which is like a good thing for now is like I definitely don't like if someone's and like they talk about it on all those dating videos. Like if someone's like, oh, I'll meet you in the middle, I'll be like, no, like you have to put the full effort in and like plan a date and put like show initiative because I don't want someone who's like wishy-washy and isn't going to put a full effort in.
Right. That's interesting.
And if someone's like, you pick the place, I just like, no, I'm not going to go then.
Do you say that?
Yeah.
And then do they pick the place?
Well, I use my feeling statement. So I say, it will feel really good for you to plan the date. And they can pick that up and plan the date. Or if they're like, oh, it's okay, I'd rather you do it. I'll be like, well, I already know what I want to do and I can do it alone.
Oh, interesting. And does it work?
Yeah. Most of the time they plan the date. The only thing is you can't be like annoyed at the date.
Yeah, that's true.
If you ask them to plan it.
Yeah.
But I think like, especially in the early days, there should be like effort putting in the plan.
Oh, for sure.
Like even if it is a coffee, like whatever. But
yeah, it's still a plan.
Yeah.
That they made.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because I think that's like one of the things is that there's just too much gray area with dating these days, these youth.
I know. Now I'm thinking so much.
About dates?
Yeah.
And if you've asked them to plan the date?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. A date.
Yeah. There's a lot I'm probably going to have to take out.
Yeah. I don't even think I listened to podcasts. I was like a late adapter when it came to podcasts. I feel like I wasn't really that into podcasts. And then my manager at work would give me podcasts as like coaching moments. She'd be like, so today you lost your cool and you should listen to this podcast. And I'll be like, okay.
Oh, really? That's what she'd say to you?
Well, she would be really nice about it. She'd be like, so how do you feel about this situation? And I'd be like, yeah, I didn't handle it well, but I'm annoyed today. She was like, yeah, let's keep that on the inside. Yeah. So she would end so many good podcasts. Like
they should do that to me at work.
Yeah, Work Life. It's like one of my favorite with Adam Grant. and then Armchair Expert. Those were like her main ones that she usually suggested. Trying to think of what else. I got into like the Harvard Business Review, that one too. Like I like work ones. I like anything like with applicable skills, I feel like.
Mine's like complete opposite.
Girls Gotta Eat.
Girls Gotta Eat. Gaily Squad, Bad Friends, like
yeah,
just talking pure shite.
It's so funny. But I do like Girls Gotta Eat, but only if they have a guest. I feel like I can't do the whole.
Yeah. Not a fan of GoDaddy. Big
Collar Daddy. We can't talk about that though. It's just because we can't like negatively talk about the podcast. We'll remove it later.
Edit that
out. Okay. So anyways, so I think you were talking, I think originally we were going to do like dating stories.
Yeah.
And like our best and worst pickup line.
Right. Remember we did that practice one?
Yeah. We like, someone had messaged me on Instagram to do a live, and I'd never done a live before. And I was like, our live will be like our shot to be like, can we do this or not?
That was so long ago. I think I still have that on my phone.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
Remember when you called that psychic?
She told me nothing though.
That was in the height of our tarot card.
I know. Days. And like even now, like I'll listen to a tarot and then I'll get annoyed at it. Cause like when I first was going through my breakup, tarot was like my favorite thing because it just gave you so much comfort. You're like, everything is going to be fine.
They're coming back.
My life is going to be great. I don't think I wanted them to come back, but I wanted them to be like something better is coming along, and it will like make sense why the like original relationship didn't work, which I like really liked. I was like, it would be so nice, especially because we just had so much baggage. So like the idea of having something fresh and new was really enticing. But it's also like you have to build that foundation with someone all over again.
Which is the most exhausting part.
Well, it's supposed to be fun. With the right person, it should be fun.
No, it is fun with the right person if you find the right person. But then if that doesn't work out, then it's like always starting from square one, I think
totally.
Is my biggest
it's exhausting.
Fear.
Yeah.
Like that's just the worst part.
It's hard too when someone only knows a piece of you, and like you're just like, I feel like people are so multifaceted, and like especially in Vancouver, people are so judgy that it's like they never really get to see like a holistic view of who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And it's all just like split decisions. And that's one of the things with dating too, is like the amount of guys that tell me I'm a certain way drives me crazy, because like you don't even know me and you're making so many like assessments.
What do they say
on me? Like I think one guy told me, which I'm not like super offended about, but he was like, oh, you're not the type of person who plans, you just like show up to things, which like is kind of true, because like I will sometimes just show up to things, but I can also plan things.
I feel like you plan so much stuff. I'm the type of person that shows up to things.
But it also like, it's like, well, how can you make such like pointed statements about someone
in what photo that you saw? Or like, did you think that I just showed up?
Yeah, totally.
You should do photos of you just like planning things.
Putting a PowerPoint together.
Yeah.
Pointing at
just
a
like
screen.
one photo and strings coming out.
Well, like I don't know, like how do you even illustrate who you are as a person on like a dating app?
I mean, every picture on these dating apps, guys and girls, it's all the same. They're all doing the same.
Especially in Vancouver, we're just all hiking and we're outdoors and we're going to breweries and we're traveling and we have a picture with an elephant because we went to Southeast Asia. Yes. So it's like, how do you even like whittle through? I don't know. But anyways, back to why we started our podcast. So we were going to talk about the trials and tribulations of dating. And I think then we kind of realized that it could be more than that.
Yeah.
Also, people would probably get bored just hearing us go on dates every week.
What? I'd love it. The dirty details of dating.
And how that no one has a real name. It's just a qualifier.
Yeah. Just one thing. Be like, oh, blue shirt? Yeah, I remember him.
The dentist?
The dentist. The astronaut.
Oh, I wish I had an astronaut in the mix. Can you imagine? Should we add that to our list? Where would we find an astronaut?
NASA.
Where is NASA?
Florida.
Oh, okay.
Houston.
They launch from Florida. They actually want it. There's one.
Oh my God, we're not even close.
I did see a spaceship launch in Florida once, though. That's why I assumed.
No, he said they launched there.
They launch from Florida.
But NASA is based in Houston. Now
so we're going to Houston.
Yeah, we should.
NASA headquarters.
And find an astronaut that's not married. Add it to our list.
I mean, a lot of them are super old. So Sugar daddies.
Widowed. Yeah, I'm not mad about it. But
astronauts. And then they're always gone.
I don't know, for years at a time. Is that what happens? Who goes to space? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Who goes to space?
I was on a date the other day and he was like, people have never been to Mars. And I don't know why, but weren't they like recruiting people to go to Mars? And then they're like farming Mars. And so I was like positive we've been to Mars. And I feel like there's footage of Mars. And I like
that we have been to Mars?
No, humans.
Oh, humans.
And I like fought for this point. I was like, no, humans have been to Mars. And he was like, no human has ever set foot on Mars. And I was like, no, I'm pretty positive. And like, I don't know why I'm pretty positive. I don't know anything about space. But I Googled it. I was totally wrong.
Who do you think went to Mars though? Like what?
I don't know.
Do you think Elon Musk?
Who went to the moon?
Matt Damon?
Like Elon Musk. So like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos or whatever, they went to space, but they didn't go to any planets. They just hung out there? What's the point?
I think did they go to the moon? But they went to space.
They took a plane that went from in our atmosphere into space.
And came back down.
And just came right back.
Yeah, they didn't even like hang out. And
what a waste of money. And the poor ozone layer. I'm so annoyed about this.
I mean,
they should have at least gone to the moon.
Elon Musk should have at least gone to the moon.
That is SpaceX's whole thing, though. They are trying to go to Mars.
Okay, so what else?
We were originally talking about why we started our podcast, but you haven't said anything.
About, why we started it. What do you mean I haven't said anything?
No, well, like, why did you want to start it?
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to start it because I thought it'd just be fun. You know, just talk about
life?
Yeah, because what we usually talk about when we're just sitting on your couch makes me laugh.
Okay.
Just about all the dates and stuff. That's kind of what I wanted to start it.
You just wanted to share the tea.
I wanted to share the tea because I like listening to the tea.
Oh, yeah. Would you listen to tea about a stranger, though? I think that's why I felt like we needed to evolve, because I was like, we can't just talk about a whole hour sharing the tea. And now we know that it's very hard because it's the most difficult episode we've filmed yet.
Yeah. No, but I love listening to other people's gossip.
Oh, okay.
I find it more interesting than, advice, like stuff.
Really? That's so
like
interesting. We're
advice.
like polar opposites.
Yeah, I just find it fun, and I like to hear other people's experiences.
Like you want it to be like light and fluffy and know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's pretty much why I like to listen to them.
That's fair.
Because I feel like I get bored.
Yeah. If it's too much knowledge.
If it's too much knowledge.
You just want to giggle?
I just want to giggle all the time.
Oh, man.
I love all the dirty tea and the gossip.
Okay. Well, we got a good mix then. We could do a gossip episode.
I love a gossip episode.
Just talk about the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial.
Yeah. Celebs. Talk all day about celebrities.
Oh, man. All right.
But I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to do it. Why did you want to do it?
Because you wanted to do it. No, I don't know. I thought it would be nice because like I feel like a lot on like I have a lifestyle blog, and I feel like with my lifestyle blog I was so bored with it kind of. But then I wanted to share like my personal development stuff, but in a way that's like not like self-promoting or like me being like the authority on it, because like I don't have any authority to be like a personal health or like a personal coach or anything like that. But like I like the idea of like talking to experts and like having their opinions on things versus like me regurgitating things. Because like I think especially like I read so many books and I just got like really into books and like so many self-help books, because I think I needed to like understand like why I stayed so long and like why I didn't trust my instincts, and like I really took it on as like what is wrong with me. And like it took me a long time to just be like, oh no, these are like classic human behaviors. It happens to people all the time. There's nothing wrong with me. I don't have to like fundamentally change my like way of thinking or like not trust my own intuition, I guess.
Yeah, but I still think you could still talk about it, because I find it more interesting hearing about someone else's experience that's more relatable than
just a doctor.
Than a doctor.
Yeah, but it's nice to have like the fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
Like it is nice, like attachment, for instance. It's like nice to understand like the basis of your attachment and like having that foundation when you are trying to like analyze your relationship.
Oh, that stuff. Yeah. That I agree with and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I like hearing other people's
personal experiences.
Yeah. I find that more interesting and, you know, even just like watching them grow through a certain situation.
Yeah.
Than
I even think
hearing,
of like
doctors.
Summer House. When like Paige first started, she was like very like, I need to be at a certain point when she's 30. And I think now that she's like 30, she's like, it doesn't matter. And I think like everyone goes through that same transition.
Well, I feel like Lindsay's definitely has a certain schedule.
Yeah, Lindsay's let go of that schedule now though.
Oh, has she? Good.
Oh, you're not caught up.
No, because I can't watch it.
You're missing out.
I know, but it's done now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's done.
But
do they see how Lindsay and Carl get together?
I don't want to tell you because you're going to have to watch yourself.
Okay, well, I'm logging into yours.
Go ahead. All right. Well, yeah, I can't believe we've done 6 episodes of all different things. So we talked about like career. I don't know. I feel like it's all the pillars of your life.
Yeah, career.
What's the only pillar we know?
No, career, the dating coach, counselor, and
Enneagram
and hair.
And hair. We really chose random themes. The hair is like a wild one, but I think I chose hair because like TikTok, it was such a theme on TikTok, and there's so many like rose water and like ways to thicken your hair that I was like, there has to be an appetite for this topic because everyone wants luscious long hair.
What's the actual title though?
She said I said it wrong, and now I didn't even learn it. Tichologist.
A hair tichologist.
Trichologist.
Trichologist.
We'll have to look back at it. Trichologist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's exciting. We'll see. Hope you guys like it. It's interesting enough.
I think so.
Yeah. Only time will tell.
You will like it.
Both with the cameras.
This camera.
Yeah, so we hope you enjoy this season.
Yeah.
We hope that there's at least like a nugget of wisdom you get from each episode. And we tried to choose topics that were like really universal and like good for all those people who are either going through a breakup or like
career
life changes and they like don't know how to navigate them. We really think like,
or if you want to find your Enneagram number,
or if you just want to have nice hair.
I mean, if you want to have nice hair too.
Yeah. So stay tuned.